Love triangles are great at wasting my time. Now, I know most of you agree with me, and even all 3 of you that have been in a real one can attest, it takes a special kind of terrible to ruin a shape for an entire generation. As for the most part, a love triangle is just 2 people who are in love, plus the other guy who never had a chance. It's been done well before, but 99% of the time, it's just there to pad out time and start a flame war, or just because. Love is a free-for-all, yet we still found a way to create a runner-up, as you can't have winners without losers, and today I want to talk about one of the biggest L's in animated history. And while there are many examples of this trope, I decided to use it as an excuse to bring up one of my all-time favorite canceled gems, 2011's ThunderCats. Because before Cats ruined it, this show awakened something in me. It was a show filled with ambition, a true epic about a band of friends fighting a great evil, and while the characters were pretty cliche, I still loved most of it, except the love triangle. Because it's one thing to force a dumb love triangle, but it's another to lie to your audience about it. Okay, lie may be too strong of a word. Mislead may be more accurate. But just like your ex, I don't see the difference. ThunderCats wasn't as frustrating as the dead horse formerly known as Korra was, but it is just a bizarre situation as by all accounts, there really shouldn't be one between any of these characters. But it exists, so we might as well talk about it, and how it affected everyone involved, because a love triangle between 2 brothers over a piece of cardboard isn't anything new. But I still haven't seen anything quite like this. I'm Sarcastic Chorus, subscribe just because, and follow me on Twitter, why not? Alright, backstory time. Eons ago, in a little channel called Cartoon Network, years of Toonami had created a generation of anime addicts who realized piracy was a thing and said fuck off to ever watching commercials again. Desperate to keep this audience, our pals over at the old CN decided to create their own action anime shows before fucking all of them over. Yes, all of them. With the ThunderCats being one such show, canceled after its first season. This reboot of Furry He-Man promised to be a more epic, serialized take on the toy commercial it was based on, with us following a young King Lion-O, who after his father and kingdom are destroyed by an evil bathroom mummy, our heroes embark on a journey to save the world, gather the Infinity Stones, and solve racism. Helped along by his team, including his adopted brother and constant neg Tigra, Chitara, who, despite the outfit and working a pole, isn't a stripper. We also had Not Hellboy, the child character, and Lion-O's future wife, who is a child. And no, I'm not joking.
Lion-O does find a queen, FYI. That's why they're kidding.
What the fuck, bro?
The buffet of eye candy and tropes includes the generic hero, the way more interesting Lancer, the sexy lamp, and the 3 that aren't in the love triangle. Yet.
Why?
They weren't writing Avatar here, but as far as stories go, you can honestly do a lot worse. Now for our main characters in this disaster, let's talk about Lion-O. Lion-O is the main character of the show, meaning he is simultaneously a saint while also being a constant fuck-up. Taking L's isn't a hobby for Lion-O, it's a way of life. His brother's better at him than everything. His dad doesn't respect him, and if it wasn't for the hair, Claudius would claim he wasn't his. Lion-O's life has been one long downward spiral that broke through rock bottom before discovering new ways to lose. He's living life through trial and error, but he still doesn't learn a damn thing. As best exemplified by a plant man telling him to enjoy the journey, but all Lion-O hears is YOLO, yeeting himself, his friends, and the children that follow them to certain death only to get saved by the plot. Being the hero in a story obsessed with teaching you morals, every episode is a new lesson for him to be bad at. He'll be a calm, rational leader in one, only to be a bloodthirsty maniac in the next. The boy has no consistency in his life, outside of being the main guy who just also happens to be a salty bitch. And I'm not exaggerating that one in the slightest. Lion-O has more salt than the ocean. Lion-O was more salty about Tigra banging his crush than his father being reduced to a body, and the kid lies saying, no, he's okay with it, when he's really just seething that a girl that kissed him on the cheek once didn't call him back. Lionel is just a raging ball of insecurities that can't catch a break. Honestly though, I do like Lionel. The story does a great job at setting him up to be the undercat. He may have everything on paper, but between always being second best and daddy issues, you can't help but feel for the guy. As when his family isn't making fun of him for his tech hobbies, they're giving him grief for not being racist enough for their liking. The cats are the most powerful race on Third Earth, don't ask about the other two, terrible story, and they won't let anyone forget it. They steal the best land, the best resources, and anything they want, then blame the other races for starving on their front porch. It's a super flawed society, and one Lionel doesn't agree with. He wants everyone to be treated fairly and ignore the fact that a cat is still in charge. I love the hair. He was my ideal hero look, being buff but still thin. Lionel's whole arc is about growing into being a better leader, and to stop being so insecure about the little stuff. As we discover, he based his whole life around a competition he already won, but still thinks that he's the loser. He learns to stop comparing himself to his brother and to value the skills that he has, and not the women who were never into him. Speaking of women, Tigra is perfection incarnate. And no, I'm not accepting debate. The cat is what's known as a Lancer, which is the character that negs the main hero over everything and is always the fan favorite. Tigra is what you get if Falco fucked, or if Rivali was related to Link. Tigra was airdropped into the royal family on a balloon labeled Moses, where he basically was perfectly happy being the little prince to his adopted mom and dad. Then like always, they couldn't stop at one kid and ruined it with a sequel. So the mom has to tap out of living to give Lionel his first and last win, causing the little Tigra to live with the fact that the kid he's been slapping around for years gets to be king by default, while his years of studying, having a job, and slaying were for nothing. And now while Tigra is absolutely a dick, you can tell from the flashbacks that it's really a problem with the environment. Tigra's got his dad putting pressure on him to be great, he's got his dad's shitty friend putting his own insecurities on him, making him see Lionel as a competitor, not the little brother he should be building up. Yes, that was attempted manslaughter, but the kid lived, so it was an accident. Tigra is just built different. While Lionel is freaking out trying to make the right call, Tigra is calm, snarky, and has been backseat driving Lionel for so long, the guy might as well be wearing a saddle. Because Tigra just won't get off his back. He's overcompensating for the fact that no matter what he does, he'll never become king, because he isn't Claudus's genetic son. So he pretty much threw himself into being exactly like the corpse formerly known as their father. This is the dysfunction that defines Lionel and Tigra's entire relationship. Lionel feels like he's a failure in his father's eyes, and he believes that, feeling like he's trapped in his brother's shadow, while Tigra feels like he's stuck in Lionel's, creating this cycle of competition and self-hatred. Neither of them are happy with themselves, but are so wrapped up in their dick measuring contest, they can't stop tearing each other down long enough to realize that they should be supporting one another. Tigra will go from being the voice of reason to overly aggressive, depending on which option pisses off Lionel more, while Lionel fails to see Tigra as this over-competitive bully, causing him to push the guy too far, thinking that he just deserves it. It's toxic, and I'm all about it. So then Chitara enters the scene, and the boys will spend the next 12 episodes fighting over her before realizing they're idiots, because she's worth killing over. Now, Chitara is a bit of a nightmare to discuss, as her personality is a lot like a Schrodinger's cat. It both does and doesn't exist. So for now, let's just call her Jean Grey and move on to the nightmare that got all of you to click on this video in the first place. As after their kingdom is destroyed, Lionel gets his magic sword, and they round out the party. Romantically, things look like they were going pretty standard, like love triangle situation. Lionel and Tigra are both into Chitara, and she exists, so obviously she must be into one of them, with the obvious candidate being Lionel, as her constant emotional support and holding his hand got this virgin feeling some kind of special. They first met in the slums, where she helped him beat up poor people, following him to his hobby shop where she seems almost intrigued by his interest in technology, which is a taboo subject, which is basically just a fairy tale in this world. Till it's not. And the fact that Chitara isn't outright detesting him for this, makes him think that years of not being like the other boys is about to pay off. And over the course of the series, she keeps coming to his aid whenever he's in trouble. She's always worried about his well-being, giving him advice on how to get his sword to work, all while holding his shoulders, whispering into his ear, and holding his hand in situations that aren't extreme enough to read as casual or necessary. This basically tells Lino he's got this in the bag, and to be salty when he catches her sleeping on Tigra's shoulder. Over the course of the first 12 episodes, this is the real personal drama that defines this group dynamic. Panthro is just here to kill his ex, the Kits are just here to have a good time. Tigra has the smooth confidence of a guy who knows what he wants, which is for his brother to stop breathing. While this is all new for Lino, and believing that he's the hero of this story, kinda expects her to pick him.
There was a reason the sword chose you.
It's probably the same reason she's gonna choose me.
During all the drama, we're never given any real insight onto how Chitara feels about this, which, as we'll find out later, is by design, as this pony show is really a one-horse race. The sibling drama comes to a head as the not Tiger King seems to be coming to grips with the fact that he will never be king. He thinks he's better than his brother, but so what if he is? He's gotta back his friend now, or else they'll lose everything. But when he thinks that Chitara is going to pick Lino, it's the breaking point for him. Doesn't matter if they're arguing or racing, Chitara seems to have all of her attention put on Lino. So when she kisses him on the cheek as he's about to enter the dangerous astral plane to get the Infinity Stone, Tigra is seething. Because this isn't just a regular crush, it's a childhood crush. As back in the day when Lino was living rent-free, Tigra had to put in the work as a guard. Their family is just fucked up like that. It's adorable as he's awkwardly serious about the whole thing. Then on his first day, Chitara showed up, and for the first time in this whole series, she has a personality. Fresh off the I'm an Orphan game, she tries to join the order of people who run really fast, but fails out when she doesn't time a trap right, causing her to go on a hunger strike outside, protesting bullshit, which Tigra supports by giving her a flower. And the order of runners decide avoiding eye contact with her every day is just too awkward. They decide to let her in, giving the homeless girl a place to live, training, and hopefully not those clothes. Tigra has loved her ever since, and based on the evidence, they didn't seem to talk again for the next decade. Tigra's territorial, and that's kinda bizarre that they never met again. Back to the episode, pissed that Lino is about to get the girl, he angrily joins Lino in the astral plane, heading in first, giving Lino just enough time to get a cryptic warning.
The evening bell tomorrow, you will know a betrayal from your brother like you have never known.
In the astral plane, things go south. TP Mummy is using bad vibes to make the brothers hate each other even more. Lino finds out his brother dropped him down a well, and Tigra gives the sickest burn in the story.
This is the true Sword of Omens. It can't be beaten, but you can.
He wins, of course,
This is Sparta!
but goes back once the evil Kool-Aid wears off. They get the stone, save the day, all without any major, long-lasting betrayal happening.
You said I'd be betrayed before the evening bell. I thought your visions were never wrong.
Did the evening bell ring already? I don't remember hearing it.
Yep, like that. Love triangle over. 13 episodes, and it's done. Because there never really was one. Turns out she was in love with Tigra this whole time, and she just never said anything. They never explain why, which, yeah, we'll get to that. But she only saw Lino as a friend, who also happened to hold his shoulders, grab his hand, whisper into his ear, and kiss him on the cheek. Just a supportive, platonic friend. Now, not to put anything on women, as they have enough social BS to deal with. From being called a B for not smiling enough, to being called an H for just being polite, it's really not fair that they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. That isn't really what's going on here, as the scenes with Lino and Chitara are all intentionally written to have a flirty vibe, to make Lino think that he has a chance, so that the show can have this love triangle that has no right to exist. Say what you want about how rushed and forced a love triangle was in Korra, at least it honestly conveyed how each character felt, without having to lie to the audience to make it happen. You may hate how fast Mako and Asami happened, you may hate when Mako and Asami kissed, you may just hate Mako, but everything that happens is in character for Diet Zuko, which isn't something that I can say for Chitara as a character, as she has none. The best way I can describe her is Jean Grey, no one's favorite X-Men. And it's telling that for general audiences, the only thing that they know about her is who she's dating, who she isn't, and that time she died. Chitara suffers from all the same problems, but on crack. She's the team mom, calm, reasonable, supportive, and can even be a little funny sometimes.
That's better. Wouldn't want you running off and getting hurt.
Well, at least this'll make our disguise more convincing.
You're lucky you're cute.
Chitara has a playfulness to her, but it's incredibly muted and feels like a dying throw to keep Lana Lang in the recording booth. Chitara is just a prop to cause conflict between the men and provide exposition. She has no rapport with any of the other characters, so we never learn anything new about her through them. We also never learn anything about her other than that one time her staff broke, which again is just them trying to be funny. She's dedicated to her job, runs fast, and is okay with holding hands. Chitara is a character they can't tell us much about because that would ruin the big hookup at the end, which is a shame because this love triangle could have been saved in the aftermath if they had just given her more room to shine. Some people are just touchy-feely. That's just how they do. But rather than trying to elaborate on that or explaining why Chitara waited years to get it in, she's given a pitiful nothing because she's not the point. Making Lino be bitter was the point in driving the brothers to fight. Legs for days and a neck like a giraffe, Chitara will probably go down as yet another pretty face that got wasted in the name of some bullshit love triangle. It happened to Asami, and it definitely happened here. And I hate love triangles, I really do. But the main reason doesn't have anything to do with forcing drama. I live for watching fandoms implode. But what I hate more than anything else is feeling like someone wasted my time. In 99% of love triangles, there's no question who is going to pair up together, with the other person only being there to suffer or to delay. The answer is obvious, and it should be, or else it will feel like a switcheroo when they end up with the other person, which is exactly what happened here. The story went out of its way to make it look like Chitara and Lino had a thing going on. Like, yeah, you technically could say this dialogue is platonic, but how it's said and framed is just as important as what is said. Chitara is leaning over Lino's shoulder, trying to help him clear his mind and focus, which I swear to you, he is not. And after she's done with her whole spiel, the kids make kissy faces at them, reinforcing those romantic overtones. And then, just because it had to be done, we get a dick joke.
No, we were just trying to get my sword to work.
The show is designed to make these scenes seem flirty to everyone that isn't Chitara. Honestly, if this show had an unreliable narrator POV, I would be way more forgiving. If this show was like the Monogatari series, where you see in the show that it is presented from the perspective of the characters, with us seeing things not as they are, but how the characters perceive them. This would account for why Chitara seemed so flirty, because from Lino's lack of game perspective, she was. We could see him realize he read the situation wrong and come to accept it, truly befriending Chitara and getting to know the real her, not how he perceived her to be. But not only is that not what the show is doing, but the show's direction in general has a history of being confusing when it comes to conveying information. Like in the Plant People episode, Lino keeps telling everyone that they need to run to fight another day, while everyone is nagging him to fight the army they have no chance of beating. Being trapped in a forest, they run into plant people who get shit from fruit flies being born and then dying over the course of a single day. This one character befriends Lino and dies before he can go back to their homeland, but he was content, saying it wasn't about how long you live, but how fully you live it. It's the journey that's important, not the destination, which is a pretty good message. What isn't good is how Lino only heard YOLO.
ThunderCats never retreat. I say we face the lizards and hope for the best.
Leading his friends and children into a fight that would have gotten them all killed if Panthro hadn't showed up. And at no point is Lino ever seriously called out for getting the moral wrong. In fact, the story seems to be telling us that this is the correct answer.
There are too many of them.
Father would have been proud of your bravery, Lion-O.
A glory I'm honored to share with all of you.
As the music swells, everyone nods like yes, running away is bad, risking everyone's life in a suicide mission, that's great. That's living life to the fullest, that's living like Larry. Even when they're about to die, they're treating this like it's some great honor to die together. And them dying means evil will reign forever. It's confusing, and you can't tell if the show is telling us that Lion-O is right or just playing it up because that's how the characters view it. As the next episode, Panthro calls him out, saying that was stupid, but it's brief and doesn't hammer home the fact that Lion-O made a mistake or that he fucked up. As in my book, leading children to their deaths is an instant fail.
What you and Lion-O went through in there, I feel I've contributed to it by not being clearer with my feelings.
So that was a fucking lie.
I like this show, but the love triangle and how it uses Jatara really doesn't work. It doesn't feel like the writers are pulling off some well-crafted twist. It feels like they're intentionally lying to us. With it being so messy in its messaging, I can't say that it was done intentionally, as all other instances of the moral being taught is always hammered home hard. The show got canceled in its first season, and I do wish it kept going, as from the moment they moved on from the love triangle, stuff got better. The story got more serious, the stakes higher, and the world building way more interesting. And the brothers' relationship continued to be the best thing in the show, as Tigra got to meet his birth father. We got to see Lion-O and Tigra move away from being so toxic to one another, while Lion-O was able to move on from Chitara. It wasn't perfect, by any means. They definitely needed to give this girl some love. Give her an arc or a single episode. It didn't even have to be about her relationship. I just need to know more about her. But we didn't get that, because that was never the point. Because it's always about the love triangle, not because it's needed, not because it adds anything, because a single moment of drama can somehow justify contorting a story into something that it isn't. I love this show. It had a lot of potential to tell an amazing story. The love triangle, though, is really, really stupid. Also, if they really were setting up Lion-O to date the 8 to 12-year-old, that would have been a dumpster fire to end all dumpster fires, and I would have brought popcorn. Alright, thank you all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Sarcastic Chorus. Hit the bell notification because that's a thing. Love you all. Peace out.